problem. He has a situation in his house. But because of who he is, the other colleagues, the other religious folks within the temple is going to look at him different if he go to Jesus to fix his problem. Why? Because they do not see Jesus as who Jesus claimed that he is. And so Jairus have to decide, am I willing now, am I able now to put my power aside? Am I willing now to put my prestige aside? Am I willing now to put my status aside? Am I willing now to put my reputation aside? Because those who hold me in high reputation is going to look at me differently if they find out that I am going to Jesus for help. But Jairus was able to put all this stuff aside, and the Bible says that he left his house. He said he left his house to go and look for Jesus. He had to make a sacrifice as it relates to putting this stuff aside. But then the text also does not say exactly how far Jairus had to go. He went, Jesus was in this particular area, and he met Jesus just coming from across the river where Jesus had went and he delivered this demonic man. He met Jesus coming back over, and he met Jesus by the riverside. And when he met Jesus, he presents to Jesus his problem. But Jairus, the text doesn't say how far he had to walk. But Jairus was willing at this point to go to whatsoever distance was required because he has a problem, because he has a situation that he wants mended. The truth and the fact is that depending on how serious our situation is, our situation would determine how far we're willing to go. If his daughter simply had a fever, then he would say, well, I don't need to go that distance. But when it comes down to the nitty-gritty, and if something is not done, this situation is going to kill me, something is going to die. When it comes down to the nitty-gritty and it appears though you are going to go under, you'll be willing to go through whatsoever distance is required to get to you. And so distance was not a problem for Jairus, because Jairus knew that if I don't go, my daughter is going to die. He's going to die. And so Jairus was willing to walk the entire way to get to Jesus regardless of the distance. And the text reveals that eventually, as we begin our text, eventually Jairus gets to Jesus. And Jairus says to Jesus, Jesus, I need you to come and lay your hands on my daughter, for she's at the point of death. But I believe that if you come and lay your hands on her, she is going to live. And Jesus, being the kind of person that he was, he is willing and he concurs and he agrees to go with Jairus. He says, I'm going to go with you to your house. And I believe Jairus at this moment, the dark situation, Jairus at this moment, his mind being frustrated, confused, all of a sudden, things are beginning to look as though they are going to turn around. Can't you see Jairus' heart as the disappointment begins to see a ray of light, and he begins to be encouraged just a little bit because Jesus has agreed to go to Jairus' house. Jesus had agreed to follow him and to lay his hands on his daughter. And so Jairus, I believe, had begun to sing the song of praise that he is going to be delivered, that things are going to change, that things are going to turn around. Jairus is traveling with Jesus to his house. And the Bible says that there is a crowd that is following them. Now, it is very interesting because, go with me, Jairus is excited because Jesus is going. Jairus is in a haste because his daughter is at the point of death. And so he don't have time to hang up. He don't have time to sit and chat. He wants to get Jesus to his house as quick as possible because when he left, his daughter was at the point of death. The text does not say how long it took him to get there, but it took some time. And so now, if his daughter was at the point of death when he left, she had to be a step closer now. And so the quicker he can get Jesus to his house, the better. But then there is an interruption in the text. There's an interruption in the text, if you would see. Because you notice I skipped from verse 24 down to verse 35 because there is an interruption in the text. There is somebody else in the community who also has a problem. I've come to say to somebody that when you come to church, you think you got a problem, but there's some other folks who got some problems. And so there's another lady in the text who has a problem. The Bible says that she has some issues. She has an issue of blood. She had some issues that she has been dealing with for 12 long years. years. She have been consulting the physicians, the various doctors, tried getting medication, taking pills, doing all sort of stuff, and didn't get any better, but rather got worse. And so she heard that Jesus is passing by. But the thing is, Jesus is